Hello, me again. So we talked about the three kingpins of public speaking being authority, authenticity and audience. Get those three things right and you can't go far wrong. Let's think about authority first of all. Now, authority for me doesn't mean that you just go in there like a bully and you start shouting at people and say, listen up, here is me talking. It's much more about soft power. You're in an agreement with that audience. So there's a couple of things to think about. Number one is that you mustn't lose your authority. You are there for a reason. The audience is giving you that authority, if you like. Remember, we're very sociable creatures as human beings, and so we have agreements, we have pacts, we have little social unwritten contracts with other people. So they've given you the authority. They've put a mic on you, they've stuck a spotlight on you, they've given you a platform, so you don't abuse that. The other thing about authority is that I think, let me think. I think it goes into everything that you do and you say. So never open with an apology. Never say, oh, sorry the lights aren't right, sorry the mics aren't working, sorry this, sorry that. Don't open with an apology ever. If in doubt, change a sorry into a thank you. Thank you for dealing with the sound. Thank you for listening carefully because my mic's not working. Thank you for squinting through the dark. I am here, and if you shut your eyes and just listen, that'll be fine. The other thing is, even when it comes to setting up the room, if you go into a room and you think, God, this is a nightmare, the chairs aren't close to the stage or there's something in the way, move it. Move the mic to where you're comfortable. Move the lectern to the middle of the stage rather than being tucked off to the side. And I think the last thing I'll say is about authority is it plays into so much about why people are nervous about public speaking. They're nervous about being on stage because they're nervous of their own authority. They don't want to take charge. That's understandable. In the ancestral environment, being in charge usually meant living a day as a tiger rather than a couple of years as a worm. It's stressful. And that, I think, is where a lot of stage fright for people comes from. They don't want to be the centre of attention. The answer to that is don't be the centre of attention. Make your content the centre of attention. Make the message you're saying so important to that audience. Make it so valuable that you are just the vehicle for it. Okay? That's my top tips on authority. I do two things. Number one is when I'm telling people about how to walk on stage, look at the illusionist Darren Brown. Darren Brown is telling that audience lies from start to finish. He can no more read minds than I can, but everybody believes him. So what does he do? He walks onto that stage with absolute authority and confidence. Watch the way Darren walks onto a stage, and if you do that, I promise you they will be in the palm of your hand. The second person I want you to look at is a speaker you may not have heard of called Chris Moon. If you have heard of him, lucky you. He is an amazing speaker and he's a fabulous guy as well. He stood on a landmine and blew his arm and his leg off. That is not the most interesting thing about him. He also got kidnapped by the Khmer Rouge and negotiated his own release. So when it comes to authority, look at what Chris is doing. He absolutely brings all of that into a speech. He's one of the few motivational speakers that will give you messages that will resonate. The day after, the week after, the month after. I haven't seen Chris speak for years. I still have his little mantra going through my head. I am still impressed and delighted whenever I see him, which is sadly not very often. Okay, Darren for walking on stage, Chris Moon for what you do when you're actually there. Okay, thanks very much. Have a great time. Till next time.